The night skies above Crimea erupted with fire and thunder as Ukraine launched one of its most daring and destructive assaults yet. Flames illuminated the horizon, columns of smoke rose from key Russian positions, and for the first time in months, Russia's grip on Crimea looked shaken to its very core. What was once seen as an impregnable fortress is now proving to be increasingly vulnerable, and this latest operation has not only rattled Moscow but also raised new questions about the future of the entire war. Hello everyone, welcome back to the World Conflict Monitor channel, and before we begin, make sure to subscribe so you never miss our deep dive analyses into the world's most critical conflicts. Today we are going to explore in depth how Ukraine rained hell on Crimea, how Russia lost nearly everything it thought was secure, and why this strike could mark a historic turning point in the ongoing war. First, let's briefly summarize the story. Crimea has been the crown jewel of Russia's military ambitions since its illegal annexation in 2014. The peninsula holds immense symbolic, strategic, and logistical value. It connects Russia's mainland supply lines to the Black Sea, acts as a staging ground for missile and drone attacks against Ukraine, and serves as a hub for the Russian Navy's Black Sea Fleet based in Sevastopol. For years, Moscow considered it untouchable, shielded by advanced air defenses, naval power, and fortified infrastructure. But Ukraine has gradually chipped away at that illusion. Through long-range missiles, naval drones, sabotage operations, and pinpoint intelligence, Ukraine has managed to strike deeper and harder into Crimea, destroying ammunition depots, command posts, and even disabling parts of Russia's once proud fleet. The most recent strikes, however, represent something different. Not just tactical pinpricks, but large-scale devastation that rocked major Russian assets, leaving entire bases crippled, logistics cut off, and morale shattered. Now, to understand the magnitude of these events, we can think of Crimea itself almost like a vehicle or a powerful machine that Russia has been driving throughout this conflict. Let's begin by looking at its exterior. From the outside, Crimea had always appeared like an armored beast, bristling with defenses. Its coastline is lined with anti-aircraft systems like the S-400, its ports reinforced with naval patrols, and its skies patrolled by radar and surveillance equipment. This hardened exterior gave Russia confidence that no Ukrainian weapon could break through. But as Ukraine's ingenuity evolved, that exterior began to crack. With British-supplied Storm Shadow cruise missiles, US-made ATACMS, and homegrown naval drones, Ukraine pierced through those defenses time and again. The recent strikes have revealed to the world that Crimea's protective shell was not indestructible, but rather brittle when challenged by determination, intelligence, and advanced precision weaponry. The exterior also includes Russia's show of force, its attempt to project an image of strength to its own population and the international community. Putin wanted Crimea to be the jewel that reflected Russian power, a tourist haven under occupation that also doubled as a military stronghold. Yet the burning wreckage of air bases, the sunken ships in Sevastopol harbor, and the ruined fuel depots paint an entirely different exterior today, one of vulnerability, destruction, and the slow unraveling of Moscow's hold. Now, let's move inside, into the interior of this war machine that is Crimea. Inside, things have never been as strong as the exterior suggested. The logistics system, the morale of troops, and the administrative control have all been deeply flawed. Ukraine's strikes have exposed these weaknesses. The interior supply networks, such as the Kerch Bridge that connects Crimea to mainland Russia, have been repeatedly attacked and disrupted. Ammunition and fuel stored inside warehouses and depots have gone up in flames. Even command centers buried deep inside buildings have been struck with precision. Ukrainian intelligence and partisans within Crimea itself have worked relentlessly to provide targeting data, further hollowing out Russia's interior defenses. Soldiers stationed there have been left demoralized, uncertain if they will wake up to another missile raining down on their positions. That short glimpse into the interior tells us that while the outside might look formidable, inside Russia's grip on Crimea is hollow, fragile, and already crumbling. Ukraine is exploiting this imbalance by systematically dismantling the inner workings of Russia's control. When we consider performance, Ukraine's operations have demonstrated remarkable adaptability. Like a finely tuned machine, Kyiv has been able to synchronize intelligence gathering, Western-supplied weapon systems, and homegrown innovation into a coherent strategy. Each strike is not random but calculated for maximum disruption. The performance of these strikes can be measured in destroyed Russian helicopters, disabled air defenses, crippled supply routes, and the loss of critical command structures. Crimea's military infrastructure, once thought to be performing smoothly, is now sputtering like an engine losing power. Russia's response has been sluggish, often reactive rather than proactive. Its air defenses, once touted as the most advanced in the world, have repeatedly failed to intercept incoming missiles and drones. This poor performance is not just embarrassing for Moscow but also reveals to the world that Russian technology and military might may not be as effective as advertised. The safety features of Crimea, so to speak, were supposed to be its layered air defense networks, naval patrols, and the constant surveillance provided by radar and reconnaissance aircraft. These were meant to keep the region safe from outside threats. But Ukraine has turned these very safety features into weaknesses. By overwhelming radar with drone swarms, by striking naval assets with unmanned boats that slip beneath defenses, and by targeting air defense batteries themselves, Ukraine has dismantled the supposed safety net of Crimea. Each failed interception, each destroyed launcher, and each sunken ship represents the collapse of those protective measures. For the Russian forces stationed there, Crimea has become one of the least safe places to be, a battlefield where every moment carries the risk of sudden and violent destruction. What truly sets Ukraine's campaign apart are its unique selling points. Unlike Russia's reliance on brute force, Ukraine has thrived on innovation, intelligence, and asymmetry. Naval drones built cheaply but effectively have destroyed multi-million-dollar warships. Small squads of saboteurs and partisans have disrupted large logistical chains. Advanced Western missiles have been seamlessly integrated into Ukraine's arsenal, used with precision and purpose. This combination of low-cost ingenuity and high-tech weaponry has made Ukraine's campaign uniquely effective. Another selling point is the psychological impact. Each successful strike in Crimea not only weakens Russia militarily but also undermines its narrative that Crimea is permanently and safely under its control. For the Ukrainian people, these strikes are symbols of hope and resilience, while for Russians, they are stark reminders that even their most prized territory is not beyond reach. When we think of price in this context, it becomes evident that Russia is paying the heaviest cost. Billions of dollars worth of equipment has been destroyed, from ships and aircraft to fuel reserves and air defense systems. The political price is equally steep, as Crimea was central to Putin's claim of restoring Russian greatness. Each Ukrainian strike chips away at that image, both at home and abroad. The cost in morale for Russian troops and citizens is immeasurable, as the supposed permanence of Crimea under Russian control is now in question. On the Ukrainian side, the price has been far smaller compared to the gains achieved. A few drones or missiles launched result in the destruction of massive Russian assets. The cost-benefit ratio is heavily in Ukraine's favor, and that imbalance is what makes these operations so strategically devastating. In conclusion, what we are witnessing is not just another chapter of this war but potentially a historic shift. Ukraine has proven that Crimea is not untouchable, that Russia's most prized possession can be penetrated and dismantled piece by piece. The exterior strength of Crimea has been shattered, the interior exposed as weak, the performance of Russian defenses shown to be poor, the safety features dismantled, and the unique selling points of Ukraine's campaign highlighted with every strike. The price Russia is paying continues to climb, with no end in sight. As the war grinds on, the future of Crimea is no longer certain. Ukraine's relentless pressure may one day return the peninsula to Kyiv's control, and if that day comes, it will be remembered as the result of these very operations, the days when Ukraine rained hell on Crimea, and Russia lost everything.